let's jump into another. I want to talk to another theist. So we're going to talk to Charles. Charles, who is a theist that is a space theist and has a problem with survival of the fittest and evolution. I wonder whether Charles was around at the beginning of the show when we talked about common misconceptions about evolution and this came up. Charles, you are on the line.
Hey guys, how are you? I just wanted to say I was talking to Forrest last show about the Exodus. I got disconnected. I tried calling back a bunch, but I don't want to get into it again. But I just wanted to point out that the Hebrew wall, and I encourage you to go look it up, has two meanings. One is joined and the other is wall. So it potentially said the water was joined to the right and the left. It doesn't necessarily say wall. But I wanted
Charles.
Fun fact,
Go ahead.
I was going to say my graduate advisor, the person who oversaw my research in grad school, is an Israeli citizen who speaks fluent Hebrew, and she always told me that the funniest thing to her is when white Christians tell her what Hebrew means, because she's not buying any of that. She never bought any of that either. But go on.
I actually have learned Hebrew from Fiddler on the Roof. But actually, before you go though, Charles, go on. I want to know whether or not are you a theist which believes the literal Exodus is a true story of history of the world?
I do, and I don't see how my race has anything to do with my ability to look up Hebrew. That was kind of ignorant and kind of a stupid thing.
You're completely right, and I apologize on Forrest's behalf.
I do. Yeah, I mean, you can look up Hebrew. You don't have to be white or black. And not to mention, Hebrew today is a lot different than Hebrew back then. So your teacher's a Nimrod. But anyways.
So might be the caller who...
You completely missed the point of what she said, but that's cool. Go on.
Very, very interesting.
Well,
so might
maybe
be
the racist comment threw me off.
Maybe we consider the Nimrod status of a person who might call in and assume that their race was assumed before anybody asked. But I don't know. Maybe not. Charles, if you'd like to...
He called me, he said white Christian, right? What do you don't listen. Like, what are you talking about?
It was to distinguish from ethnic Judaism. It wasn't to say you're wrong because you're white. It's to say you don't have the cultural history and context of what you're talking about.
I also don't remember the part where he actually said
language. That is her mother tongue. And so she understood it better than the person that she was arguing against. That's all.
Don't you think it's in my best interest to look up the Hebrew?
Charles,
that's the thing, dude.
Charles,
Spanish is a second language. I don't have the context.
Charles, you've also revealed that you believe in the literal Exodus.
The Christians are the racist bigots, right?
Charles, shut the fuck up for a second. I'm trying to talk.
Dude, I've been trying to get this in. Charles, in there.
If we want to talk about your ability to look up things and scholarly resources, you've just said you believe in the literal Exodus, which has been let go by even some of the largest, most religious institutions in the world. So you want to sit here and go, could I look up something and be accurate? You've already failed on one of these big parts, but we can go down that road if you like with the Exodus, or we can go with the challenge you're calling it about survival of the fittest.
Yeah, no, just watch the other show and you can have fun. But I wanted to address, Dan, what you said at the start about, maybe I got it wrong. You said that when the religious people, because the religions dictate that you should wash your hands, and now we know the microbacteria is good for your body. Is that what you were saying to?
Yeah, I was saying that actually viruses are the best too.
Before, yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus was actually criticized for not washing his hands before dinner. I don't know if you know that, but anyways, so sorry?
Yeah, because they used to wipe with their hands. So that was the thing. It had nothing to do with microbiology.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, but you're saying that religious people are taught to wash their hands, and we know now that microbacteria is good for you, and Jesus was criticized at dinner for not washing his hands.
Wait. Are you suggesting that it is the scientific position that exposure to microbiology, which by the way, microbacteria, which by the way that is a good thing, by the way, happens in far more forms than you just touching your hands with your face. Is it your suggestion that the current scientific understanding is that we should not wash our hands? Is that the suggestion you have?
No,
here?
just not, of course not, but not excessively, right? Like if you look at peanut butter. How many kids were dying of peanut butter when we were kids? That all came out. All these viruses and allergies came out once we all started sanitizing and washing our hands. Like, there's certain bacteria that are necessary for children,
It was
right?
just track better, dude.
It's
It's like saying that there's more cases of autism now. We've improved diagnostic factors, and we've increased tracking. Like, people have had allergies their whole lives.
How many kids did you see die of peanut butter, Forrest, when you were in school?
0.
I never heard of such a thing. I never seen such a thing. Now you can't even bring peanut butter to school. I'm glad to hear you
didn't give a shit about people dying before recently, but the fact is they have.
No, because it didn't happen.
Charles didn't see it.
No kids collapsed from peanut butter.
Right, Charles
do you think that it didn't happen, or do you think nobody told you?
Not like it does
what's
today.
more likely,
no.
that all of a sudden everybody's biology changed, or that there have been such a thing as allergies the whole time?
Charles, I want to ask a question, and it's
what do you think is likely?
Charles,
that people started dying of peanut butter after we forced sanitizer on everybody? Or
Charles, I'm going to ask a question that seems completely out of the woods, and if you like, we can skip it and get to your challenge. What is your reaction when I say the name George Soros?
George Soros. Rings a bell. Who can you explain it?
Okay, no. We don't need to go into it.
That covers it. That's great.
You're good.
Fine.
You're good. Yeah. I am willing to engage with you because you're not the level of conspiracy theorist that I thought you were so far. So I'm willing to continue on. That's a huge relief to me, honestly. What is your challenge?
Okay, so I watched some of your videos, Forrest, and they're actually very educational. And I've listened to some of the things that you guys talk about on the show, and I just wanted to address, there's one point that I've heard a few you make. I think you made it for us. It's an analogy about two guys in a cemetery. Does that ring a bell? And they see the ghost?
No, but I might have said something like that. Doesn't sound familiar.
They pulled out their swords and shot one another. Is it that story?
No. Oh. No, so they say that the two men are in the cemetery and they see a ghost. I've heard a couple people say it on the 8th and 6th grade. They see a ghost. The one guy goes, I want to go see what that is. And the other guy says, I'm getting the hell out of here. And the point is the fact that our fight and flight gets us to run away from danger is proof of evolution, as instinctually we want our bloodlines to succeed or survive. Is that a fair statement?
Fight or flight responses, like, I would say that is the result of evolution. You could point to it as like an indicator or like a tool for teaching about evolution. I wouldn't say that the presence of your sympathetic nervous system is proof of evolution in any more than I would say the proof of you can smell things is proof of your evolution. You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird thing to point to. What are you driving at when you ask this question? Because maybe I agree with you.
I'm driving at
clear.
So I'm driving at, from what you guys say, like even today you said evolution wants you to have at least one kid, right? So what I'm getting at is
it wants that.
Do you think
it does want that?
Yeah. So do you think it would be a normal instinctual action for one to stomp out their own bloodline instinctually? Does that disprove evolution, or is that just unnatural?
No, there are several examples. There are plenty of examples across various species of altruistic actions for the benefit of the species or the population as a whole that ends up in the death of that one individual. So, like, there are times where self-sacrifice actually has a distinct evolutionary advantage, and where we can test it. And it varies from species to species, from case to case. But, like, no, to say that the suspension of the fight or flight response to go and check out what the ghost is, that doesn't disprove evolution or have anything to do with evolution, really.
There are also many species who have a diverse group of almost like categories of workers, like roles within where what they're doing together furthers the species replication without any individual. I mean, think about all the number of ants that never get to fuck the queen. They're not passing their specific seed along. So it's complicated when you get outside of humanity too. It's brilliant to me that when you look at evolution as a whole and you take a look out and you're looking at all of these species, that somebody would call in and go, well, what about our reactions to ghosts?
That's a great example. Like ants as a whole thing would be a great description as to why the idea of going out and fighting at the risk of your own life really doesn't disprove evolution at all. Because if you see an ant outside of the colony, there's a 99.9% chance it's a female ant that will never reproduce, because the vast majority of ants in the colony are female. So like, if that is their whole job, is to go out and be the soldiers to go defend the place and never have any children. That's because they're an R-selected species, so that's fine for them.
Yeah. One person was mentioning crabs that lay eggs, and not just eggs, but even once the eggs have hatched, little baby crabs, they just start eating the eggs, the crabs right away. They're just like, oh my God, I am a crab and I love seafood. Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah, but post-maternal cannibalism, just munching on your babies, that's another thing that's very widespread in the animal kingdom.
But anyway, back to ghosts.
Yeah, so anyways, what I'm driving at here, and I don't want to sound ignorant, I'm just honestly, genuinely curious how you justify this. I have no stake in the race, right? I don't mean to sound ignorant. But that being said, how do you justify something like homosexuality where they're instinctually stomping out their bloodline? From an evolutionary standpoint.
Just the way we explained it. That's not even crazier than ants.
Yeah, it's just a variation, man. And there are also, like, homosexuality is something that we've seen in over 1,500 different animal species. It's all over the place. And there are actually several evolutionary hypotheses that support it as a benefit in the species, in a population. So, like, it's not a crazy unheard of thing.
Population control?
There is one argument for population control. There's also we call the gay uncle hypothesis.
The population
it is. It's out there. Yeah. It is, but it's out. It's sort of like when we talk about like the provisioning hypothesis of bipedalism. It's not right, but it's out there and it's worth learning about. Same thing with when we talk about, there's the whole gay uncle hypothesis, which is the idea that a homosexual male would stay at home while the other males are out gathering resources and help take care of babies and things like that. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it. And some of them have more credibility than others. We do not have a set answer on exactly why homosexuality occurs, but we do know that it's pretty ubiquitous across the entire animal kingdom. And there's some pretty strong evidence for a genetic factor for it as well, although there's almost certainly triggers that happen later on life, epigenetic factors that factor into it. So like, it's just, it is a very natural thing. To call homosexuality unnatural is like calling sex unnatural. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's much more natural than owning a toaster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I believe it's instinctual. I believe, like you said, there's genetic and environmental factors. Absolutely, I'm on board with that. I was just curious how you guys rectify that, listening to those kind of analogies, like the ghosts, which came from the atheist experience, and just the idea of evolution, how you would rectify that. But that makes sense.
I would defend being homosexual just by introducing you to my friend Fernando. He is fucking hot. Don't tell him I said so.
There's actually a couple of good books out there. There is a book that I believe just called Homosexuality in Nature. And there's another one that's called Biological Exuberance, I'm pretty sure is about, if I remember correctly, is about this. It's been a little while since I had to know any of these things, but I'm 99% sure those ones cover it. If you want to look up, there's another book called Evolution and Human Sexual Behavior. It's got a picture of a lady blowing a kiss on the front, and I'm pretty sure that it covers homosexuality. It definitely covers like the biology of sex versus gender and like how these things function. I'm pretty sure there's some literature in there about homosexuality. Definitely read Evolution's Rainbow. That one's got chapters on homosexuality and when sexuality develops and when the best evidence of that is. And I think Sexing the Body covers it as well. Sexing the Body is by Anne Fausto Sterling. Homosexuality in Nature and Biological Exuberance, I don't remember. Evolution's Rainbow is by Dr. Joan Roughgarden, and Evolution and Human Sexual Behavior is by Drs. Gray and Garcia. You can find all of those on Amazon.
Okay. All right, perfect. No, that was a good answer. I was just curious, so thank you for explaining.
Wait, don't go, Charles.
Okay.
Why do you believe in the Exodus?
I went through it all with Forrest. I actually went through it with you and Josh one day as well. It's the same guy. You remember that? I
remember, yeah.
And you said you walked to Costco?
We destroyed you.
You did not. You wish.
I remember. It was an easy challenge.
Before I go, can I leave you with a Hitchens quote? I know you gave one. Can I give you one?
Do you believe in Jesus?
Yes, of course I believe in Jesus.
Why do you believe in Jesus?
Because he's the Son of God.
No. Why do you believe in Jesus? Not what do you believe about Jesus. Why do you believe in Jesus?
Why do I believe in Jesus?
Yeah, that would interest me way more than all of this.
There's a whole bunch of evidence for Jesus.
Name one.
Prophecies.
Name one evidence for Jesus.
The prophetic. I called in today earlier and I talked about. Was that with you? Prophecies? Was that you?
Me?
Who was on the first show today?
What? The first show of what? This is our first show all day.
Season. Who was on talk? Oh, it's Johnny P. and Secular.
Oh,
I called in and I talked about prophecies with them.
What prophecies?
Wait, I know there's a ton of evidence for Jesus.
No. What's your favorite prophecy?
Talking about all the...
Name one. Just name one of the evidences for Jesus.
Number one prophecy.
Okay. Well, the one I left them with, right, is you guys know in the end times, you guys always mock about wars and rumors of wars, right? But Jesus...
You're fucking with me right now, Charles. You watched my show with Aron Ra earlier today where we made fun of the Book of Mormon saying wars and rumors of wars. You're fucking with me.
No,
this is a joke, right?
No, Johnny P said it. Johnny P said it.
We said it at 2 o'clock today. We said it at 2 o'clock today, and we reamed the concept that anybody would go, all right, here's the challenge, Charles, on the absolute off chance that you are fucking serious, because I don't think you are. Do I know you in real life and this whole thing is fucking with me? Is that what this is? Are you a friend?
No,
okay, fine. Name a time after 600, because this is when it happened in the Book of Mormon, when Nephi supposedly said it. It was in 600 BC. So let me pretend Nephi existed. It was in 600 BC. Name a single time in human history after 600 BC that there weren't wars and, oh my God, rumors of wars? You want to go with, oh my God, did you hear about that one war that might be happening? Or, oh my God, that war is so basic. You want to go with rumors of wars, Charles? How fucking...
No.
My God. When has that ever not applied?
I didn't go with rumors of wars. I didn't go with rumors of wars.
Okay,
I'm saying you guys mock that.
Fuck yeah, I do. It's so stupid.
I know you do. Okay, so let me explain this.
Okay.
So when Jesus talks about that, he says, but don't worry, all these things must come to pass. He says, once this gospel, which this is insinuating is being at least copied at the present, he says, this gospel of the kingdom is preached all across the world, then the end has begun. So there he's prophesying that Christianity is going to reach the whole globe, and he's also prophesying that once it reaches the whole globe, that's when the Antichrist will rise, right?
Right.
He says the abomination that causes... Sorry?
Define the whole globe. When do we get there? When do we fill in the meter and we're at the top and you hit the whole globe? Because as far as I can tell, apparently the Antichrist seems to be hundreds of years, if not thousands, overdue. Maybe you could say not until Columbus comes to America and rapes Christianity into it. But when do we get there?
I think that we're there. Honestly, I think Jared Kushner is the Antichrist. I think he's going to be Trump's vice president. I'm not joking, man. You watch. He'll be Trump's vice president. It's Kushner, man. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Anyways,
you got me. You're right. I said I would.
I knew you'd agree to that one, man.
Right. Why didn't the Antichrist come in 1800 when Christianity had hit all corners of the earth?
Well, because we didn't have planes, right? Like now we're able to. And because
when did Jesus mention planes? Because if Jesus mentions planes, now you got a fucking ball game.
No, he didn't mention. But the idea that we have planes and we can reach the whole world at this point is so accessible, right?
Buddy, I'm not trying to fucking blow your mind here. I'm not trying to blow your mind here. They did it with boats. You didn't even need planes.
But back then too, it was different, right? So the Catholic Church doesn't preach the gospel of Jesus at all. It's more the gospel of Paul, if anything. And Paul was a scholar of the Old Testament, so they contort his words. But the actual true words of Jesus are just starting to come out in the last, couple decades, right? People are preaching the true gospel. They're using Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John rather than Paul.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that the emergence of fundamentalist Christianity, you're saying, is unique to the last few decades?
Well, look at the history of it.
That's not what No. Answer my question. Answer my question. You think that fundamentalist Christianity, and by the way, I assume you know that the actual context, and you love to bring up context in Hebrew and all of that shit. I assume you know that the context of Jesus talking about coming back, he was acting like he was headed down to the gas station for smokes and would be right back. This concept of 2,000 years is absurd. I assume you know that.
Yeah, but I mean, time is different. Time is different to God. He says a day is like 1,000 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even when the guy was on the cross next to Jesus, right? And he says, today you'll be with me in paradise, right? And then Jesus died for 3 days. Obviously, it wasn't today, right?
No.
The point is today is a different meaning to God than it is to us. Right?
Clearly. Jared Kushner, is he going to run as a Republican or a Democrat?
It's Kushner, man. He lives there. He bought the 666 Wall Street for like an extraordinary amount of money. Right? It doesn't even make sense why he bought it. He's a genius. The guy's a genius. He ran Trump's entire campaign, right? Trump even said that. With Kushner, he wouldn't have won, right?
Hey, how many super chats?
He's rich.
How many super chats? How many super chats for $6.66 would I need to receive, and I could be the Antichrist? No, I'm serious. If we're gonna throw some fucking number bullshit out. You know, if you're watching right now and you want to support the channel, send $6.66 and I'll end the world by becoming the Antichrist.
I'll send you $6.
Jared, no, $6.66. I don't want your. I
can't do that. Guys.
I don't want your $6 then. Keep it. Jared Kushner. Why? So Jared Kushner, is he going to run as a Republican or a Democrat?
Well, Trump's going to run as a Republican, right?
And so Kushner's going to run as...
go back to Democrat.
You think Kushner's going to be Donald Trump's vice presidential pick?
Vice president. Yeah, for sure. 100% I do.
Oh, my God. Okay, Charles, 100%. You're saying, is that the real number you would give it? That is the confidence you have?
It's not
100?
a prophecy. It's just a theory.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's him. Not just because of the 666. That's
if he doesn't...
a connection, right?
If he doesn't, will you admit you're wrong and that fundamentally you understand that you have gotten something incredibly wrong about the existence of the universe and the meaning? Like I said, it's just a theory, man. I'm not saying it's a hypothesis, and it sucks.
All Christians have a guess on who it is, right? I think it's
I think it's telling you picked. I think it's funny that you got real upset that we implied at the beginning that there might be some sort of
conspiracy?
No, that there might be some extra licenses taken by white Christians when it comes to Jewishly sourced thing. And you've come up with a theory where the most politically prevalent Jew you know of is the Antichrist. I find that interesting, to say the least.
There's a lot more prominent Jews than Kushner. Come on now.
Name one more. Name one. You didn't know who George Soros was. Name one more politically prominent Jew than Jared Kushner. I've got one for you. You won't like it, though.
There's a ton of them. Jews are a very smart group of people. They run the whole world. They dominate the entertainment industry.
You don't know who George Soros is, but you're repeating the fucking...
George Soros is that rich businessman,
isn't he? Jews dominate the entertainment industry is a Nazi dog whistle talking point, by the way. It's not true. It's bullshit.
Shut up.
Well, I'm not trying to be ignorant. I'm saying they're smart.
Stop bringing your facts to this. That's not what we're doing now.
Because they're the most evolved people, right? They were the first people, in my belief. They're the smartest. They're the most evolved.
Charles, name one more politically prominent Jew than Jared Kushner. You've said there are thousands of examples. Tons, I think you said.
I couldn't tell you, man. I don't know.
Exactly. And my assertion to you was that you picked the one politically prominent Jew you know and made him the Antichrist.
No. Charles, when I was looking at Kushner, I didn't even know he was a Jew. He doesn't look like a Jew at all. Right? He's like a...
What dude? Oh my God, dude.
Well, he does.
You realize that everything you've said, you realize that everything you've said, like for the past 5 minutes, is just dripping in anti-Semitic neo-Nazi bullshit.
Charles.
Right? I'm not a neo-Nazi. Come on now.
Charles.
You just happen to say all the things that they say, right?
Charles, do you own a lot of hoodies?
I don't hate Jews at all.
Do you own a lot of hoodies?
I think Hitler was an asshole. I don't.
Do you own a lot of hoodies, or are most of your hoods a separate accessory from the jacket? Is what I'd like to know.
Come on, that's awful, man.
Can
I give you my Hitchens quote?
Sure, you fucking Nazi prick. Go ahead.
I'm not a Nazi. All right. Hitchens said, if I could eradicate religion, I wouldn't. I don't quite know why. I just wouldn't. Why do you think he said that?
Yeah, I've seen what you're talking about. And now you're not just a Nazi, you're also trying to withhold the rest, which is where Sam Harris then challenges him and says, it almost sounds like you are saying that you would keep religion around just to argue with people. And surely that's not what you mean. And Christopher Hitchens says, I dare say, I think it might be. So he likes to argue about religion with people. Okay, well, there's the...
he said that. He said that in the video. He's debating that Christian pastor, and they're sitting in a limousine. Yeah. And he explains that he was having a conversation with Dawkins. And he does say that. He says, not just because I couldn't argue anymore. He said, although it would be that, but not just that. He said, if I could eradicate it, I wouldn't. And he said, and the way Richard Dawkins looked at me sticks with me to this day.
Good one, Adolf. I gave you the broader...
It's a good thing that we don't worship Hitchens.
Yeah. And by the way...
I like it.
Well, he's dead. And I guess according to probably your worldview that he's burning in hell. I did put your name as...
What? I never said that.
I did put your name in... I did as a joke put Canada as your country. I do want to apologize for that. I realize now I should have put...
Not Germany.
I should have put 1930s Germany. I do apologize. Goodbye, Charles! At a certain point, I just stopped debating Nazis. All right. He's not going to be happy. I bet you he calls back. He's like, come on, guys. You called me a Nazi on your show just because I said Jews run the media. They run the world. They've got the banks. And just because they were
the first humans and they're super advanced and they're...
the one politically prominent Jew. Look, Charles, I'm not actually saying you're a Nazi. I'm saying you might not even know you're a Nazi. Because that's...
You just bought into the white supremacist Nazi dog whistles so hard. You don't even realize you're saying them anymore, which is what they fucking want.
I think you might show up to a rally about something else, and then the Nazi guy is like, hey, 1 second, and people are like, shut up, Nazi, and you're like, let's hear him out. Okay, come on.
Oh, there's a lot of white robes going around on this. Oh, we're doing hand things. That's cool. We're waving. Why is nobody waving? Just very strange.
Shouldn't you put more in your wrist when you wave? I don't know. This seems very stiff.
No, it's very... Why do all these people believe the same things I believe? That's the thing. If you believe something and you're not a Nazi, that sucks. But you have to ask yourself, if the weird, outlandish thing that I believe also happens to be the thing that all the Nazis believe, maybe I'm on the wrong side here. Maybe I need to think some things through a little bit better.
I wasn't insulted
also,
the Jews.
If you get really, really upset that someone might insinuate that you're white, maybe you've been triggered too hard by that, and you've been trained that there's anti-white racism out there.
Yeah, I like that. He was like, your Hebrew teacher sounds stupid. Oh, my God. I wasn't insulting the Jews. I admire the Jews very, very much. That's
Yeah, they're great people. It's like the people who say, like, I don't hate Mexicans. I love Mexicans. They're so good at cleaning. Like, you don't get how that's still a fucking shitty racist thing to say, right?
Yeah.
But I complimented them. I said something nice.
I do want to thank Charles for one thing. Charles, thank you for the excuse for us to turn the show into two white people tell you what's racist. I appreciate that. This fucking day.